Let's have a look at this nib. This is called a skew or a knife point. It's very, very sharp. It has two pointed edges. It is not rounded at all. It has two very sharp points. The lower one that kind of comes in a little bit closer to the finger is called the heel, and it is also quite sharp. I want to show you how this nib burns and what techniques it likes to burn best. Hey Pyro, I'm Gianni Lisenby, founder of burnsavvy.com and your Pyro professor. And this video series is wood burning tips and their uses, wire nib edition. If you are looking for the solid point edition, that's already over on my YouTube channel. Feel free to hop over there and check out that playlist. And if you want more videos like this one, remember to smash the like button and subscribe button, and then press the bell so you never miss a video. Quick reminder, the point of these videos are not to show you what you can do with the nib, because I totally believe that you can do almost any technique with almost any nib if you try hard enough. So I'm intentionally not trying hard because I want you to see what this nib likes to do naturally. I am using a Colwood, and this is a heavy tip, so it takes a little higher heat. I am using a heat level 6, and you can see with this first test of lines, it looks really nice for clean, crisp, long, straight lines. You can also touch both sharp points down and get a decently even line from the beginning. Now, when I turn it sideways or lay it sideways and try to drag it across the wood, it doesn't really make lines. It just kind of skips across the grain. So it's not very good that way. It is much better when you cut through the grain using that sharp knife point. And here I'm just showing you how it works when you just touch down on the wood. For dots, it's kind of hard to get any variation. You just get a really tiny, very fine dot. And if you wait long enough, like if you let it sit longer on the wood, you'll get more of an oval or more of a line rather than a dot. But that real sharp, fine point gets some really sharp, fine dots. Curves are a little bit of a nightmare with this nib. It just doesn't want to do any curves. So I really wouldn't recommend it. Even the big curves, the little curves, it struggled with all of it. If you were doing some big, tall grass piece or something that has maybe a slight bend, that might be okay. But curves were definitely not its forte. So as you can imagine, the small circle was also quite hard to do. It really didn't want to cooperate, really had to turn my hand, really had to twist the nib in order to get it to remotely resemble a circle. And that was true whether I had the small circle or the large circle. It just wasn't well equipped to do those circles. And cursive, curved, calligraphy, that kind of lettering was also a nightmare. It was no better. So I would not recommend this nib for anything that requires those fine curves. And when I did do the block lettering where it was a little more straight lines, the straight lines were fine, but any time that you had a curve on the B or the U or the R, it really, really struggled. And then filling in those spaces in between the straight lines were also a royal pain to work with. I tried turning it on its side and it didn't want to play nicely. I tried just doing some basic touch in with some teeny tiny little lines to do texture. That was okay. And then if I turned it straight up and down to go parallel with the outlines, that's what seemed to work best. But I really wouldn't recommend for filling in those larger spaces. And shading, I tried doing this stripy motion to create a smooth gradient. As smooth as I think that this nib can get. Then I tried laying it sideways. I also tried a circular scumbling motion. And all three of them, in my eyes, were kind of a big fail because it does not want to do any kind of shading. So I don't love it for that technique either. That said, I would say the best uses for the skew and knife are definitely clean, straight lines. They're okay for dots. They're lousy at curves, lousy at circles, really bad for lettering, and I don't recommend it for shading. Definitely a specialty nib. If this was helpful, you should definitely jump into the free 5-day beginner wood burning art challenge going on, where you're going to learn wood burning tips, techniques, and fundamentals that are going to help you get the clean, crisp lines and beautiful burned art that you've been craving. Join us at woodburningartchallenge.com/join to jump into the party. I'll see you there. Later, Pyro.